words. It really does speak volumes about the popularity of the Queen that she's admired by Republicans.
Absolutely. I describe myself as a Republican for Elizabeth, which I know is a bit of a strange thing to be, but I have always been a Republican for my whole adult life. I'm still a Republican. I would still like to get rid of the monarchy at some point in the future, but I had a huge amount of admiration for Elizabeth II. I thought the values and the virtues that she embodied were extraordinarily important in terms of public service, loyalty, stoicism, forbearance, all of which cut against the grain of our contemporary era, which is one in which we are supposed to be much more therapeutic, to let everything hang out, to share our emotions constantly, and to be self-obsessed. Contemporary culture encourages us to be self-obsessed and self-regarding and narcissistic. And she rose above all of that and demonstrated to the country and to the world that it is possible to give yourself over to something bigger than yourself. And that's important for Republicans as well as for monarchists.
Brendan, of course, it's not expected that Republicans are going to be quite so favourable to King Charles III. What was your reaction to his speech to the nation?
You know, I actually found it quite touching and quite emotional, especially when he talked about his darling mama. I mean, you'd have to have a heart of stone not to be moved by those kinds of comments. You know, first and foremost, this is a man in mourning for his mother. And not an ordinary mother, but a mother who was guiding him to be the heir to the throne and training him essentially to be the king. So he had a very close bond with his mother. And he's a man now in mourning and a man who has taken on an enormous responsibility. So even as a Republican who doesn't particularly want a king or a queen, I feel quite warm towards Charles at the moment because I know he has a huge responsibility on his shoulders. I do think he will be a very different monarch to the Queen. The Queen was famously Herculean in her ability to rise above politics, to not express her views and not to express her emotions, whereas I think Charles is likely to be a more interventionist monarch, which I think could cause problems for the monarchy. But right now, I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt and let him settle into his new role, and the debates about the future can wait a little bit longer.